Good evening. It's 6 p.m. in Barbados, 5 p.m. in Jamaica, and 4 p.m. in Belize. Welcome to Let's Talk Access, a social media program produced and presented by the UWI Global Camp. I'm your host, Cherise Glasgow, and thank you for joining us from wherever you are on the World Wide Web. Today, we speak to two of our most recent 2023 graduates. They represent two of our global campus countries. I'm excited to hear how they went from freshers as new applicants and enrollees into being graduates. I want to learn what they're doing now and how the UWI Global Campus have helped shape their lives. Without further ado, we have Dasil Hamilton from St. Kitts Nevis and Javon Bino from St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Gentlemen, welcome to Let's Talk Access. It's a pleasure to have you on the show. I'm going to let you introduce yourselves, tell us a bit about what you studied at the UWI Global Campus, and if you want us to learn anything unique about you, you're free to do that as well. So the floor is yours.
Hi, Charisse. Thanks for having me. My name is Dasil Hamilton. I'm from the small country of St. Kitts and Nevis, and it's really good to be here this evening with everyone. At UE, I studied hospitality and tourism management. I never thought I would be in tourism until I actually started working in the tourism industry about 7 years ago, and I found it to be an amazing space to be. It had a lot of freedom. I did so much, and I felt just so at home. So I decided, hey, why not study that? So that's what I did at UE. Interesting things about me. I don't think there are that much. I'm a big video gamer, a nerd, an anime fan. Um, and yeah, most people probably wouldn't believe how old I am, but that's about it.
All right, good evening, everybody. Javan Bino here. And as Disil said, I'm so happy to be here with you all. Um, at UWI Open Campus, I studied language education. I did a BEd in literacy studies. And to be honest, as you said, if anybody had told me like 5 years before that I would be studying language education, I would have said no, no way. Because at college, I did geography and environmental science. Those were my specialties. But then after I started teaching, I became the sixth grade language teacher, and so I decided to hone my skills in that area. That is why I undertook these studies in language education.
Okay, great. So I'm hearing some career transitions as well as subject areas that you wouldn't have initially started, that you wouldn't have initially had chosen for yourself. So we'll get a little bit more into that and those changes. But tell us, what does access means to both of you?
Um, for me, access means having the opportunity to do the things that you want to do, to be able to succeed in those things and having, just resources. So that's mainly what I get when I think about that word.
Yeah, I share the same sentiments. For me, especially coming from a small island within St. Vincent and the Grenadines, access is a big word to me. So I think as he rightfully puts it, it's having the opportunity to engage in what you're interested in.
Okay, great. It's good to hear that from you and from both of you and those who are watching on our social media platforms. We just want to remind them that they too can have access to a world class, a global university education with us here at UWI Global. So we want to remind you that applications remain open for all programs for semester one, starting in September 2024. So for those who want to be undergrad, who want to pursue our undergraduate programs, like our two guests here, the application deadline for that is Wednesday, July 31st. And for those who want to go on to do their postgraduate studies, that will be Friday, July 12th. So that's Wednesday, July 31st for our undergrad programs and Friday, July 12th, deadline for our postgrad program. You can access these application forms and the application process through logging in onto global.ue.edu/apply. That is global.ue.edu/apply. So let's get back into our discussion with these two gentlemen. And I must mention that both of them are first class. They got first class honors in their degree program. So we just want to shout them out and give them a round of applause because we know that is not an easy feat. And we want to get in some of the background discussion with them on how they were able to achieve this accomplishment. So can you tell us how would you describe your overall experience at the global camp?
My overall experience at the global campus was stressful. Let's just say that. And not mainly because of the school or anything, but just because of the type of person I am. I always want to be a high performer. So I went in with the mindset, okay, I need to have all A's on every single thing that I did. In my first year, I was successful. I had all A's in everything. And I was like really proud of that. And, I was talking to a few people and they're like, your first year doesn't really matter that much because it doesn't really count towards your final GPA average. And I'm like, what? But I was still proud. And then my second year, I can recall, I don't think it was the first semester, but it might have been like the second or third semester that I did. And I got a B. And I was I was shattered.
Oh
I
dear.
was like, oh my
But you
God,
recovered
my the
too.
whole yeah, the whole vision that I had for myself was just up in smoke. But at the end of the day, I mean, I still graduated with first class honors, so it really didn't matter that much. And I kind of had to teach myself not to be so hard on myself, even though I did have lofty goals and everything like that. You just have to find when things don't go exactly your way, you have to find a way to work around it so that you can still, make it through because somebody else might have spiraled or, you know what, everything is up in smoke.
Yeah.
You can't do it anymore. And then everything starts slipping. So you need to maintain a really good mindset when you're um at university, especially if you're in a virtual session like the open campus is, because you're basically doing it all on your own, even though you do have support with other locals going to school and doing things like that. You meet different people across the region, you have a lot of group interactions and things like that. It's still really up to you to ensure that you make your way through your different semesters. I've seen people take on 5 and 6 courses per semester and then they're struggling because deadlines are clashing and this and this and that and that. But because I knew myself and how I operated under like really stressful environments, I made sure to pace myself. So I think that is also something that is very important when you're considering university, especially with online learning. Pace yourself, because I had a full-time job during the day and I had full-time school basically during the night, and I had to balance those things. So that time management was extremely important. I had to give up so many things that I liked. Whenever there was a semester on, I couldn't play video games. I had no time to watch television. So a lot of the things that I you know, preferred to enjoy during my spare time, I couldn't because I had to prioritize my learning because I had a vision and a goal for what I wanted the outcome of my degree to be. And I mean, it worked out. So I'm really happy that I did that.
Great. Siobhan?
Right, yeah. So I can't, to be honest, I can't begin talking about my experience without giving God thanks and praise because, to be honest, from inception to end, it was all God. Because when I applied to UE Open Campus, well, now Global Campus, I had no idea how I was going to pay for anything. I saw courses. I wanted to do courses because as this is saying, goal oriented, wanted better for myself. So I applied for courses. I didn't know where anything was coming from, but God worked it out. My experience was not as easy as his because I've had a few hiccups while at UE Global Campus. Um, During my first year, I wasn't for second year, um, my wife and I, we had a miscarriage. So that was something that I had to be dealing with. And then a few months after that, I lost my mother. So it was a lot in a short space of time. But I had a good support circle and I persevered and I made it. But as you rightfully said, it wasn't easy. It's a lot of sacrifices. And yes, you have to put those TV shows aside sometime. While everybody is talking about the latest thing on Netflix and so forth, you have to, be disciplined to keep on track with what you have to do.
Oh, so many amazing experiences coming out thus far, and it couldn't have been easy, as you said. And I'm hearing from the self was discipline, and from you, I'm definitely hearing faith. And just to read a quote here,
Yes.
with faith, discipline, and selfless devotion to duty, there is nothing worthwhile that you cannot achieve. I think that sums up both of your stories that you've spoken about so far. We will get back into some of the challenges you would have faced later on, but can you tell me now what was the best aspect of your journey at the global camp?
I think the best aspect of the journey was connecting with different people. Prior to UE Open Campus, I can't say my network really had many persons outside of maybe my island, St. Kitts and Nevis, and to some extent the United States. But I met so many Jamaicans, Trinidadians, people from St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Belize, Barbados, all across the region. And it was sobering to connect with these people and have that shared similar experience and understand Caribbean and Caribbean culture a bit more by just, listening to different people and how they express themselves, seeing how they learned, seeing some of the shared things that we had across the region. Well, I was doing tourism, so obviously people are sharing their different cultures and stuff like that. So it was really interesting to get all of those different perspectives and appreciate the whole idea that the Caribbean is a melting pot. And just kind of get that vibe from everyone. It was also interesting to kind of um, observe the different stereotypes about the different islands and things like that. And just, just take it all in. And for me, learning about people, learning about culture and stuff like that is very intriguing. So that was the best thing for me. And also kind of being able to compete with persons across the region, you enter a classroom and people are looking, so you're looking around and you're seeing, okay, this person is from St. Vincent or whatever, and they're really smart, so whatever, whatever, whatever. So even that little rivalry aspect was motivating for me as well. So I really think the UE community was the best part of the experience for me, and I wouldn't give it up for the world.
Hmm.
Right. Thank you so much, Diesel. And you are so correct. If it's one thing about us Vincentians, we're going to show up and show out. Yeah, and for me, I wouldn't say there's one thing, but it's the entire package. It was a package experience, and one of the biggest thing for me was the networking and the building of relationships, because there isn't a Caribbean island right now that I don't have friends. And we still communicate regularly. We're still in contact. Even from St. Kitts and Nevis, this year, I know Richard. Not sure if you're familiar with Richard. Right. So very good soldier of mine, and we met in a few courses, and from since then, we've created bonds that have lasted even past graduation. So I would say that that was one of the biggest thing for me.
Awesome. So we are definitely hearing community spirit and building those bonds. Also getting rid of some of those stereotypes that we as Caribbean people tend to have against one another. So it was good that you did have that experience and that the UWA Global Campus was able to provide that experience for you. Can you tell us a bit more about your program? I know both of you didn't expect to study what you studied, and you have your own reasons for such. So can you give us a bit more insight in that, as well as going into how you were able to use the program, if at all, to strengthen your professional pursuits?
All right. Well, initially, tourism was not on my radar. I've always been someone that enjoyed like computer stuff. So I always thought that, I'd study computer science or programming or something like that. And I don't think the open campus has that program. So that was unavailable to me. There were several different scholarships available in St. Kitts and Nevis that I also applied to that I was unsuccessful at. So, I was just trying to make sure, keep my options open. I had a goal in mind. I said, okay, I had to complete college at a certain age, well, at least my undergraduate degree. So, I just kept looking around for things that I thought would make sense to me. Um, Fortunately or unfortunately, I was working at a financial institution a few years back before I started my degree, and we parted ways. And from there, I ended up working in the hospitality industry. And I can remember an individual at that time who knew me who said, hey, you're too smart or you're too good to just be working as a waiter or whatever it is, blah, 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 blah. Don't stay here forever and what's not. And it was like super confusing for me because I worked in financial institutions before, and where I was, I found that I was making so much more money than that 9 to 5 job. But I guess most
Your
people don't
tips.
know of,
Mhm.
oh yeah, about those benefits. But at the same time, I'm always someone who wants to climb. I always want to, better myself and stuff like that. So I kept looking and I looked around and I saw that the open campus had a hospitality and tourism course available. So I was like, hey, I really enjoy what I'm doing now, even though it might not have been my dream career choice when I was in school. This opportunity is here. Why not try it out? And again, I have absolutely no regrets. The program itself was it was interesting. It really broadened my perspective of what exactly tourism is, of what hospitality is, like learning about the different things about sustainable tourism, sustainable travel, community tourism, learning about the ins and outs of managing hotel properties, from people to plant to community involvement and all of these different things, policy making and all of these different things, interacting with, merging your strategy with the sustainable development goals and all of these different things. It might seem like, you're just giving someone, people might think have tourism as just simple service things, but it's so much more.
Yes.
It's about preserving culture. It's about learning about culture. It's about appreciating different cultures, is understanding that um, while in your culture, a black shirt might be a negative thing, somebody else might celebrate it. And if you go to their island or whatever it is, and they're celebrating that, you try not to bring your vision of that and you just experience the culture so that you can leave knowing more and not less. Um, and it's really so much, and just learning about it and how culture and tourism and travel and movement kind of brings the world together. That was a really great experience for me. I had several different lecturers. There were some that were A plus plus plus, and there were some that I would give an F.
Oh
And I
dear.
know we've all had those experiences. There have been people who've written, what do you call it, those petitions and all of those different
Mm,
things because of their learning experience. And there are going to be challenges. You're not going to meet a perfect system, but I tried my best to maneuver it as much as possible. Every time I came across a new lecturer or a new class, I'd just kind of bunker down and just try to figure out how my lecturer thinks or whatever it is, and work from there. You had to be very independent again when it came to learning, because although you had a guideline in terms of the course material, um, sometimes you would see one thing one way and you think, okay, here's how it is, but it might not have been updated as much as you like. So now you have to go and you have to do research to make sure that the what you're actually taking in makes sense compared to what they're asking you about. So there's so many different challenges that you face that if you're not someone who is willing to think outside of the box, you can easily get lost in a wave of just like, you could just be overwhelmed with how different the university experience is. Because at the end of the day, yes, as much as we're paying money and we demand a good learning experience, the onus is on you, because at the end of the day, when you leave university and you go out into the world of work, you have to be able to translate that learning into whatever position that you're in. So the whole idea, and I think it happens to a lot of people because most people just tend to go straight from either like high school or what do you call it again, like A-level college straight into university. You're just accustomed to test taking and making sure that you pass. But I think university is so much more than just passing a class. It's understanding, the different things that you learn and applying critical thinking more than anything else. So that at the end of the day, no matter how tricky a question is, you always kind of know the answer to it, because you're not just looking for someone to ask you, okay, if Andy climbs a tree and it's a mango tree, will you find a mango? You have to think about, okay, why is Andy climbing the mango tree, and all of these different things, so that if a trick question comes around, and I had one lecturer who used to love giving trick questions, shout out to Miss Branch from Barbados. You have to be able to answer, because life doesn't come at you straight and direct and expect you to give you back what it is you read yesterday. Just the same thing in the workplace. Every day is different. Each challenge is different. Each client is different, whatever it is. So you have to be able to apply whatever you know to that. And you don't just get that by reading or reciting or whatever it is.
mm, Siobhan?
All right. Sharice, can you repeat the question? Um,
Yes,
this cell took us
yes,
so
I was
far.
asking. Yes, he had a very intense experience. We can tell.
Yes.
We can tell he has a lot to say too. So this is definitely going to be a good conversation. The question was, what was what was the highlight of the program for you? And in terms of your career path, how did what you learned help you to divulge deeper into that aspect of your career?
Okay, thank you. Yes, well, as I initially said, my focus, my career path was really I wanted to be something in the lines of geography, environmental science, and as he was saying, when I was looking at the programs being offered, that was not something that could have been done online. And so as I was teaching English language at the primary school, I decided to do the bachelor's in education. literacy studies, because that is what I was doing. And I was also teaching adult education, English as well. So it fit in so well. And that's one of the reasons why I went into that program. Now, some of the highlights for me, and I would agree with you, Diesel. Boy, we all have that humbling program. And for me, it was poetry. Poetry, and I know my other batchmates, my other classmates, you're going to agree with me with that. And as you say, sometimes you have to adjust. Sometimes you go with a mindset, expecting things one way, but then you have to, recalibrate, and then you have to adjust yourself to the challenges that come. And that is part of higher education.
Right.
That is part of being in global campus. You have to be able to adjust and keep moving forward. But my program, it really focused on teaching English, teaching the English language to not only children, but anybody who's willing to learn the English language. We delved into the philosophies and all the different nitty-gritties of how to pronounce this, why we say that, and then the different interference with our language. And it was really a nice experience. Really, really nice. I learned a lot, even things that I was doing that I didn't know, that is what they were called and so forth. So even the methodologies and so forth of teaching the English, it was really, really good for me. So that was one of the best experience for me. And as he rightfully said as well, we've had lecturers. To be honest, I never really had a problem with my lecturers in the programs that I did. It was really, really good. All of the lecturers that we had, they were, top class. Some of them are a little bit, tough or strict, more strict than others, but they were all good. Especially my Trinidadian friend, Abdul. He was really, really, really good. Great, great lecture. But as you talk about experience, I remember doing an assignment for I think it was sociology, Mr. Gibbs. And even as an adult, having that reassurance and that praise. It was an assignment that I put sweat and tears into. And, just to get the positive feedback from him, he sent a personal message to me, the lecturer at that time, saying that this was a great assignment and one of the best that he's experienced. And I'm not saying that to brag. I'm just saying that it was such a fulfilling experience for me to have the lecturer come and tell me that. I felt,
Yeah.
even as an adult, I felt like a little child, so motivated and so encouraged. So I was really happy with that.
I can see that both of
Javan,
you had. You go ahead, Lisa.
I, I was just thinking about, I had a very similar experience to that sociology experience. I'm not too sure if Mr. Gibbs was the lecturer,
Yes,
but
yes, same guy.
um, it's the same guy, man. He likes to give his shout outs, and it really made me feel good. Got me a little scared too, because he was like, told the class, this is how you guys are supposed to write. So like I'm like, oh boy. Now everybody's gonna ask me, how did you do so good on this thing? But having moments like that are really good, and it helps to motivate you, it helps to, you know, because university is hard, and
Yeah, yes.
open campus is extremely hard. Balancing life and school is, it's so much to do. I mean, and Javan, to give you even more kudos, balancing all the tragedies that you went through during that time. And if we're both recent graduates, I mean, we started around the same time, maybe 2019, 2020, and then everybody went into COVID. Um, COVID was so much. For me, it
Mentally as well. Yeah.
yeah, mentally, for me, it drove me into a place that I didn't even know where I would come out from, because there was one day I was happy and enjoying work, felt like my career was on the right path, everything was going good. And because I'm working in hospitality and tourism, the other day I'm not barely even making ends meet, wondering if I'll be able to complete university in time, and wondering if if it makes sense to stay in hospitality and tourism because I don't know if the world is ever going to be open back. It was so much, and I had to even get some support from a professional at the time. I had to go to therapy and, just kind of talk through my anxiety and stress and all of that so that I could be in the proper mental space to complete my work. So when you do have those moments where, a lecturer pats you on the back and tell you, hey, you're doing a great job, it kind of gives you, that extra reassurance that, I can do this, I can complete this, and this is the right thing for me to be in right now.
Yeah, so true. And to be honest, when I saw it on my program guide, I'm like, why do I have to do sociology? What does this have to do with teaching language? And looking back now, I'm so happy. And that's one of the things, that I loved about my program as well. Not because I was doing language education, I did a lot of different subjects, sociology, government, uh, information technology. And at the time, to be honest, I was, I made a few noises here and there because I couldn't see at the time how they were related to what I was doing. But I'm so happy to have gotten that experience outside and that knowledge outside of what I was majoring in. Really happy that that happened.
Yeah, I have to agree with you on that. I think the programs are very well rounded. Um, I never knew I would have enjoyed sociology that much. There was a point, I think, shortly after completing that course, I just felt like so many more things in the world made sense. You learn about Karl Marx and all of the different things and whatever it is. And there was a point in time that I thought, you know what? Maybe I want to switch my major to doing psychology because that just sent me down a random spiral of wanting to understand all the different things about human society and whatever, and what's not. But I stuck to my guns and I'm happy I did because that would put some extra time on my degree. So, but having those experiences are really good. And sometimes I've spoken to other persons who attend different universities, and you know, when they're focused on a discipline, they basically just have that tunnel vision on
Yeah.
those courses. If you're doing tourism, you're basically doing only tourism, maybe one or two other electives or stuff like that. And most people are choosing simple things that they think that they can, just get out of the way and get their degree. But I think UE crafts the program in such a way that you find yourself with a very well-rounded education. And I'm really grateful for that. I think the courses are set out in a really good way.
I quite
And
agree.
it's just up to us as the students to make the best of the experience. I'm not going to sit here and pretend and sugarcoat it and say that it's going to be easy. It's going to be hard. We have those group projects and all of those things that we have to go through. And I think
Oh
that
boy.
I'll say it here that UE needs to kind of reduce how much group projects contributes towards your grade.
Second over here.
Remember, the group project is to prepare you for working with others.
Oh, no, 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 no. Those people are not going to be working with me for sure.
The personality types will.
Uh,
But,
yeah, and so
at
But
so
the end of
true.
the day, it was good.
but it's good to see that both of you had a lot of life experiences from your program. And as Disil would have alluded to earlier in the conversation, it wasn't just about passing a class and getting A's and A pluses, but to really understand the program and understand what it was that you were learning. And also, you said in terms of choosing courses that will give you that depth instead of just to say, well, I have a degree now. So let me just read some of the comments. You have a lot of supporters on our YouTube page. So let me just read some of the comments. We have Nora Campbell. She's congratulating both of you. Javon, she says she's proud of you. Bamble is congratulating you as well. Lynette Bino Olivier, she is congratulating you. She's saying blessings. She's proud of you. Judy is saying good evening, Mr. Hamilton. Premier Tutoring Center. Congratulations, Mr. Bino, Claudette Davis, Molentia. Oh, she was one of our panelists from the week, our program before she did her postgrad. She's also giving congratulations as well as the Zetilia. So you have a lot of fans, I should say, online, and they are extremely proud of both of you and are here to show their support. So guys, please continue to comment so that we can read them. Also remember to comment, like, share, and subscribe to our channel so that you can keep abreast of what the UWI campus is doing within its community, as well as highlighting our students and our graduates. So just to move on in the conversation, I want to know, Lisa would have said earlier that many students go from doing A levels to UE. The UWI Global Campus, to me, adds another layer to it in terms of when persons move from A levels to UE, they usually go to a face-to-face institute. But because our uniqueness is our online offering, our virtual, us being a virtual campus, how was it for you in terms of the technology and online studies, and especially in terms of COVID as well?
Sorry, I was muted there. I've never really had a challenge with technology and utilizing technology, so there wasn't really like a space where I kind of had like to switch between okay, what I'm used to versus what UE is presenting. I think the open campus interface changed at least twice while I was attending university. The last time there was some difficulty in terms of navigating the page because you kind of like have to you know refamiliarize yourself with what you're used to versus what you have now, but at the end of the day it was good. The forums had no problem with the forums and interacting there. The I think we moved from what was it, Blackboard something, what we were using. I think we were using some
Yeah,
type of
Blackboard,
Blackboard thing
yeah.
for yeah for like lectures to Zoom. So we started using Zoom instead of that after a while. But yeah, it was pretty okay dealing with the technology. Um, the only thing I would say is that you had to always remember to turn your notifications on. That is
You were
very
missing classes?
that is very, very important. Once or twice, maybe I missed a deadline for something because I didn't have a forum notification on for something
Mm-hmm.
that's really important. So like a weekly thing or maybe a change in something, and I didn't get the email to tell me that this is what was going on. So that's the most important thing, I think. Make sure you turn on your notifications on all your forums when you log in. So you go, you turn on your class news and notifications, you need that turned on. You need whatever forum that you have to do for like your what do you call it again? Your student interaction thing turned on and your groups and whatever it is, just make sure your notifications are turned on because that can turn into a nightmare if you're not really paying attention to them.
Yeah, and for me, it was, to be honest, it was a little challenging at first. And I don't know why, because as I reflected on the interface, it wasn't that difficult, but just the fact that you're on a new platform, it was strange, and so it presented a little challenge at first. But after I got to working with it, it became quite easy to maneuver, find your classes, find the discussion threads and so forth. Very easy to maneuver. Some lecturers were, you know, they organized their course page a little easier than some of the others, so that helped for some of them. In terms of the technical knowledge, it helps when you have a group because while I was there, we had different groups. I would be in group with people from St. Vincent, people from Trinidad, Jamaica, St. Kitts and Nevis. So everybody lend their ideas and their knowledge, and that really, really helped in the process, especially in getting certain presentations done. I remember we had an IT assignment to do, database. Those things can be challenging, especially if that's not your major. But working together to maneuver the interfaces, it really did help.
Did either of you take advantage of the payment plan that we offer?
I didn't take advantage of the payment plan, simply because I heard some horror stories
Oh dear.
about it. So I just try to like get everything out of the way sometimes. And I mean, it works for a lot of people, and I don't want to discredit their experience at all, but sometimes I'd hear students complaining in like the St. Kitts channel that, oh, they did their payment plan, they've made their payments, yet they're locked out of their courses or stuff like that. So that can be frustrating. And I understand technology isn't always the best. And I think it's gotten better over time. But
Yeah.
just because of those hiccups and glitches, I just never really use it.
Well,
How about you, Jim?
to be honest, my payment plan was the most my payment plan was the most high because I was acting on faith, as I said. So I would have applied for numerous scholarships. And those came in very handy. I got multiple of them, to be honest. Thank you, Lord. And those sort of helped me, to pay and finance the degree. But quite frankly, I've never had an issue with being locked out. I would screenshot my stuff and I would send them to a specific email. And then I never really had a problem with that. I mean, I know some of my friends did have problem with that, being locked out of courses and even after they would have made the payment. But I never really experienced that.
Okay.
So yeah.
So how was it for you guys in terms of the virtual graduation? Did you guys have watch parties or anything like that to celebrate your big moment?
Yes, I did. I did have a little watch party. To be honest, I was disappointed. I was very, very disappointed. Not a
You
little bit.
wanted face to
Very, very,
face.
yes. I wanted face to face. I wanted to be able to put on my shoes and walk across the stage, wave, shout out to families and friends. I wanted that. But it didn't happen, but I
Yeah,
still had a little party with a few of my close friends, and we sat and we watched, and it was good. Nevertheless, nothing like the real graduation, but nonetheless, it was good.
it was okay. Okay.
I'm glad you had that experience, Javan. I don't know if it runs in my family because my sister attended a different university in the Caribbean, and she didn't go to her graduation, even though she could have done the whole shebang. And it's kind of the same thing for me. I was just like, you know what? I'm done. I'm finished. Thank you, Lord. Goodbye. And a lot of some of my friends are like, come, 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 let's do this. But I'm really just not a ceremonial type of person, I would say. I don't like weddings and or funerals either. I think they take too long. And graduations are very long as well. So I was like, nope, see you guys. Thank you very much. And that was it for me.
Just give
But
me my
it didn't
certificate.
dim it didn't diminish the value of what I accomplished. I'm really
True.
happy that I was able to graduate on time, and make it through because it's challenging. COVID made that even more challenging for me and a lot of other people. So having that accomplishment just felt so good. And I have my certificate and everything to prove that I went. So the formal ceremony I didn't really need the formal ceremony. I know there are people who like that type of thing, and kudos to you guys, but it wasn't a big deal for me.
Well, I
So,
miss my formal ceremony, to be honest. You see, one of the biggest disappointment as well was, you know, we're online and we're dealing with so many people from different countries. The graduation was our big plan, you know, to get to meet up and link up with people who we've been communicating with for 3 years and never seen face to face. So when that did happen, you know, we were a little disappointed.
John, you guys could still
two
go to
two
Vegas, you know,
extremes.
just get some plane tickets. Vegas is waiting.
Is he giving you the finances for this trip? But it's glad that both of you had the experience. Well, one of you had the experience you wanted. The other one is still not satisfied. But we are so sorry for that, Javon. But as Cecile said, you can take a trip.
Yes,
But
that's a
just to
possibility.
remind those who are watching that there can be like you too, There can be like both of you because our application period is now open for intake September 2024. So those who want to pursue their undergraduate programs, they have until Wednesday, July 31st to do so. And those who want to go a step up, they can pursue their postgraduate programs, and the deadline for that is Friday, July 12th. So that's Wednesday, July 31st for undergrad and Friday, July 12th for postgrad. You can log on to our website at global.ue.edu/apply to follow the application process. So I know before Javon would have shared with us that he had several losses during his studies, and we do want to extend our condolences to him in that aspect. And we want to take this time now, just briefly, for both of you to thank those persons who would have really supported you during this time. Just to read some more of the comments, I see Danica Crompton. Javon, is that your wife? She's saying she's very proud of
Yes,
you.
yes, that's my
We
wife.
have a Zuena Gregg. She's also telling both of you congratulations and that she's proud of you, Javon. We have Omari James. We have Tyson Marshall and Trevon Bino, as well as Adana Bino. They're saying how proud of you guys and of you, Javon, they are. So just take 30 seconds to just give a shout out to your family, your friends, your colleagues, your tutors, anyone you want to just say thank you to.
All right, thank you. Yes, my family is very, very, very supportive. As a matter of fact, the entire island, because I live on an island called Beckway in St. Vincent and the
Mm.
Grenadines, and everybody is very, very, very supportive, you know, and the encouragement has been overwhelming. And I just want to thank everybody for your support, for your encouragement. It has, you know, gone a long way, even with during the losses and so forth, which was very, very difficult. You know, had it not been for my family and my support group, I don't know. I don't know if I would have made it because there were times when I felt like if I was going to lose my mind, like if I was going to, you know, as we say, go crazy. But, you know, God has been good. And I'm so grateful for the people that He's put in my life that has been encouraging me and motivating me. And I'm very happy for that. My classmates as well, they were really, 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 really great. And you guys know who you are. I'm not going to call any name because I don't want to get in trouble on this platform.
Yeah,
So I wouldn't call any name, but they have been awesome. All of them. They've been really, really awesome. I don't know. There's something about teachers. You know, we just always click.
very supportive. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. And you know that has been really good. The teachers as well, the lecturers, as I said, Dr. Gibbs, very, very supportive, Mr. Abdul, and there were some others from Jamaica, Miss Spence, very, very supportive. I remember doing one of our courses while the one of the incident transpired, and she was so understanding, you know, so that was very commendable as well. Just thank you to everybody.
Yeah, I want to echo some of this similar sentiments. Really shout out to my family, especially my mother and my sister, for basically being there for me and supporting me during the COVID period, especially where things weren't as great financially for myself. You know, I always had a home and a family to look out for me, and I'm 100% appreciative to that. And all of the other people that supported me, even my therapist who was, able to give me the strategies that I needed to help me to manage
So,
my stress and anxiety and things like that. There are a lot of friends that I met who were great as well from all across the region. And, we encouraged each other, we worked through it, we made our jokes, we cursed the lecturers together. we, we compared notes, we helped each others with assignments and things. Shout out to all those people. Shout out to some really amazing lecturers. One person I'll always remember is Miss Branch. I had a lot of courses with her, so I have to remember her for sure. I did a lot of tourism courses with her, and I think I remember her the most because I think she was one of the more challenging lecturers for me to figure out because the strategy that I was using to get all A's with everybody else just didn't work with her.
it
So the
wasn't
first
working
couple
with
of
her.
courses the first couple times I got in contact with them, like, what's going on? Like, why am I not getting what I think I need? So I just had to figure her out, and coming down to it in the end, I was able to master, her courses and understand, what I should be providing and stuff like that. So she challenged me. So I really appreciated that. There was this thank you to Miss Phillip, Miss Gail Great Phillip. She is the head of the Open Campus section in St. Kitts. She was there for
You have to
support
say global
in everything
campus
that
now,
we do.
Lisa.
Oh, yeah,
Lisa.
global,
Yes,
global
you have to
campus.
say global.
Yes,
Yes.
yes, I have to say global. Sorry, I'm sorry. I came in on open. So, yeah, Miss Phillip, she was amazing.
Mhm.
And,
Yeah, she's very supportive.
just
Yeah.
yes, yes, just anybody that was there to really, just like guide us along. I can't remember his name at the moment, but there was this really good math teacher that I had to send him a message afterwards because I was so afraid of math when I came in, but I like shined, and I think that was only because he just made the course so easy to understand. I got A pluses in like both of my math courses that I did, and I was like, huh? Because coming from A level when I did it way back when, getting like D's and F's. I was like, this is gonna kill me, but I was able to conquer. So I was really happy about that. But yeah, just anybody who really just was there for me during that time. Thanks so much.
Awesome. Awesome. Could you believe we have 9 more minutes in our program? But
What?
before we end, we were having such a good discussion with these two gentlemen. They're very in-depth discussion. But before we end, we want both of you to not only tell us what your future ambitions are, but what advice do you have for prospective students who are starting in September? They may be a bit hesitant or they may already have applied, but just give them some advice as well as tell us what your future ambitions are.
Okay. Well, right now I'm pursuing a Master's of Arts in Education. I'm doing a generalist
Wow.
program. I've also started doing some interviews for a PhD program. Um, there was this course, and I'm getting to it. The reason why I'm going to share it is because there's this course that I did in one of the was it the second year? It's called Curriculum Studies, and I really, really love that course. And that course has been with me ever since. It's one of the driving force now in my ambitions because I'm really interested now in specializing in curriculum studies and instructions. So my encouragement to you guys, find something that you love and put your all in it. As you know, Diesel was saying, it's not going to be a walk in the park all the time. It's not going to be easy all the time. There are some sacrifices that you would have to make, yes, but it would be worth it. Just put your best foot forward, and I'm sure you're going to be successful.
Some advice.
All right. Thanks for that, Javan. Okay, so for me, in terms of my career future, I'm looking around for programs to do a master's in sustainable tourism. I love the tourism industry, so I'm gonna stick it through. And the experience at UE has really, ignited my passion even more in that area. My advice for persons who are thinking about starting a degree with UE Global, or who have started a degree with UE Global, is to try to just keep an open mind. I think it is. Um, Whatever you think learning was before, let that go. Be be willing to listen, be willing to change the way that you think that you're supposed to present yourself. Because when it comes to university, just simply answering a question doesn't work anymore. You have to be more than that. You have to really think deep into it. One course that I did at university at UE that I think reshaped my whole ideal, it was a foundation course. I think it was Foundation for Learning Success. And one of the first things the lecturer said in that course is, don't focus on passing, just focus on learning. And the course taught us a lot about reflection and different things. And it was just really trying to teach us to be critical thinkers. And a lot of people struggled with that so much, even though they basically got the instruction. Don't focus on passing, just focus on understanding. And I think the lecturer said that because if you're just focused on answering a question, you're not going to be reflecting on anything. You're just going to think, this is the answer that I need to put in. So you're going to put that. So I know a lot of people struggled with that course, but I basically breezed through it because I wasn't focused on passing. I was focused on understanding. So my advice to people when you're doing university, just focus on understanding. Don't kill yourself up too much on the passing. You're gonna pass once you understand the material. So focus on getting that understanding in instead of a particular grade or anything. Just really dig deep and do that. And you'd be surprised how easy everything gets from there. And what else I would say? Be wary of group chats. Working together is fine and great and dandy, but from my experience, I found that there was a lot of complaining and skylarking in a lot of like the giant group chats. Everybody was just, this is hard, this is da 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 da. So the actual pertinent information that you needed to get from those chats sometimes got lost between all the different little memes and comments and emojis and stuff like that. So just buckle down, learn yourself, understand how you learn, manage your time super, super wisely, get scheduled. If you know you're someone who maybe procrastinates a lot and you work better under maybe pressure, quote unquote, still understand how to make that work for you in terms of what you have to produce for your lecturer. For me, I don't want to say I work well under pressure, but I usually take a longer period to brainstorm. So while I might have 2 weeks for an assignment and I might knock it out in the final 2 or 3 days between when it's announced to when it's due, I'm working in my head about, okay, well, how am I going to tackle this? What points I'm going to use? How much research do I think this will be? When I'm writing now, I'm not someone who can sit down and write for 10 hours. So I do 2 or 3. If I feel tired, if I feel my mind is on focus, I'll take a break. I'll do something to get myself back into the mode of working again, and then I'll go back into it. So those are some of the strategies that I use to ensure that whenever I did something, I performed at my best. And I would encourage persons to, look at as well. You're the only person who knows you. So just figure out how you work, figure out how you learn, and try to apply that as much as possible. And you can be successful. Just definitely make sure that you manage yourself and your time wisely. And good luck. Whatever you need to believe in or do to get yourself to that finish line, you just go ahead with it.
Okay, great. Awesome advice from two who have walked the path before you. So those who are listening, please go ahead and apply. Just apply and take the advice that is being given to you. So we want to thank our viewing audience for joining us and for commenting on sending lots of love to these two gentlemen. We also want to thank our panelists, Sil Hamilton from St. Kitts and Nevis and Javon Boino from St. Vincent and the Grenadines. On behalf of us here at the UWA Global Campus, we wish you every continued success in whatever you put your hand, your heart, and your mind to. And we know that more great things will come from both of you in the future, and we look forward to hearing great and better things. I also want to give thanks to our team, Patrick Johnson and Marcia Reed, who are handling our technical matters as well as any queries or questions we would have had on our social media platform. So until next time, when you join me for another episode or edition of Let's Talk Access, I'm Cherise Glasgow. Bye.